guys, how you doing? Just chiming in. We are looking at the market for the week. It is Sunday, 20th of January, and I just want to take you through some things. There's some probably fairly exciting moves this week, so we'll get started. All right, so first of all, we've got Pound Oz. We're on a weekly chart. Now, we identified this one a couple of weeks ago. We were looking, so we've got this big weekly pin bar here. Excuse all the mess on this chart. I don't want to get rid of any of it though, because when we drop down to the time frame, it's going to make a lot more sense. So we can see this big weekly pin bar here, and close nice and bearish. So essentially what we're looking for is a 50% retracement into this pin bar, which is this line, and from there we're going to get short. So we just zoom out a little bit, look out to Y. So we had price coming up, so high, low, high. Now also we've got price coming in, and we identified this the other week. We've got a new lower low, double top, and then a lower low again. So essentially looking for price to come down and rest into these areas here. So this big weekly turnaround was key level for us to continue down to these levels. So this 50% retracement up here was a perfect entry on the lower time frames to get short. So we're looking at around 1,075 pips. But if you chase this fractal low, you've got 860 odd pips. Alright, so this is where I'm going to just drop down to the time frames and show you a bit more where the action is. So I'm going to just drop straight down to the H4. Okay, so it's looking a bit better now in terms of what we can see. So this here was the big weekly pin, closed down here somewhere. So what we're at the moment is a reversal heads and shoulders. So this was a fractal low on the weekly. So a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. So price come up, broken this neckline. You can see we're in a bit of an uptrend channel, and now it's coming back down. I thought it was going to retest here, but it's gone up a bit more. And I believe it's going to come down and retest in this area, or maybe along this area. So we've got a 50% retracement. That was the weekly pin. Sorry, that was that fractal high to this fractal low to fractal high. So I'm expecting price to come in and either test here or test here. Either one of the two. If we get price action, we'd like to get long. And remember, when we get long, so this was the 50% retracement of the weekly pin bar. So we're going to get long up to these levels. And we're going to anticipate on the higher time frames that price is going to roll over and head back down and break lower again from there. So just as a quick example, so right now expecting price to come down and finish off this head and shoulders pattern, left head, right shoulder. So we got from here, so if we get H4 price action onto this or this area, we chase this 50% retracement, so we've got 190 odd pips. So we can trade this one short on a H4, 190 pips. And then from here, we get price action either at this level or at this level. We can trade long again into this 50% weekly retracement. Sorry, I'll just grab that crosshair and we'll chase that back up there. So 290 long again. Now on pound JPY, as you know, I trade with a 45 pip stop loss. So the first one we got 190 short divided by 45 pips. That's a 4.2 to 1. We'll just get rid of that. And the other one was 290 long divided by 45, so we've got 6.4, so plus the 4. So between those two trades, you're looking at around 10% if you can get those entries executed nicely. All right, we're going to go up to the next chart, which is a USDCAD. Okay, so USDCAD weekly. Now we had this price, so this is way back when, 2014, so we've got 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, anticipating a 4th touch, which also correlates with this 1, 2, 3 touches on the consolidation triangle for the downside, but then a break, anticipating a retest. So the retest will line up with this uptrend here. So we're looking at 2 points of confirmation here. Now, when this happens on a weekly, I would like to see some price action here. Then we will be getting long, and we'll be chasing these highs, either this high or even these highs potentially. But in the meantime, we've got some opportunities on a lower time frame, and we'll just drop down to daily. But if we look here, we're anticipating the overall direction to come short to retest here. So I'll show you on daily what we're looking at in a little bit deeper. Okay, so remember, weekly break, and we're looking at a retest over here somewhere. Just going to zoom in a little bit. So we've got price come out, break, come up, high, anticipating a retest. So here we've got a potential of, let's just draw this in as we go. Left shoulder, excuse me, and a potential, excuse me guys, a potential right shoulder. All right, so if we get any price action on a daily or H4 if you want, but I'm thinking daily at this stage into these levels, then we will be getting short down to this neckline, anticipating wreck. So that's 160 pips down. So a break of the neckline should double that. So we could expect 320, retest that neckline, and then back down into these levels here, which give you 460 odd pips. Now, trading the USCAD, we run a 35 to 45 pip stop loss. On daily, we run a 45 pip stop loss. So we've got anticipate 450 pip move divided by 45. Of course, it's going to be 10. So we've got a 10 to 1 there. Okay, so we've got a potential for a 10 to 1 trade in here, and then skipping back up to weekly. Then if we get price action, then we're going to get long again. But like I said, on the daily or H4 in the meantime, we can make a bit of money getting short. Now, another one that I probably won't trade necessarily myself, but I have been talking on the phone to a friend of mine that does quite well. So this is pound New Zealand on a weekly chart, okay, and we've got price meandering up through these levels. So you got, this is a weekly support resistance line. It's right up under at the moment, and down here we've got a bit smaller weekly support resistance line. So it's broken that, and it's come up under the bigger one at the minute. So if we drop down to this, you'll see, and I'll drop down there in a second onto a daily, but essentially this is a left shoulder head and a right shoulder, and this is a break. And coming up under this weekly resistance, I would expect price to come back down and retest this neckline based on this weekly resistance area, and then get long up into these areas from here. So just drop down onto that daily. So you can see it a lot clearer here now. It's got a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder, break of the neckline. This, remember, is the very, very strong weekly resistance. I would like to see daily price action. A nice pin bar in here. We would get short into these areas. So that's 280 pips short. And then if we get price action down here on this neckline, we're looking at around 750 odd pips long again. So a couple of really good trades there. Now, I don't generally trade pound New Zealand. What sort of spread have we got in here today? 49.51. So we've got 2.4 pip spread. I would probably trade that with something like a 65 pip stop. So what do we say? I think it was 290 and then 700. So between the two trades, you've got 290 plus 700 divided by, say, 65 pip spread. Gives you a 15 to 1 between those two trades. Probably take 5, 6, 7 weeks to play out. But again, another good trade to have a look at. So that's the wrap up for the week. So just remember, we've got pound Oz, USDCAD, and pound New Zealand as the third one if you want to look at. So pretty excited this week. There is going to be some action across some charts, and I wish you guys all the best. I will talk to you again next Sunday. Okay, guys, cheers. Bye.